again. And maybe this is just to point to something, and that's the purpose of it, because the video I just did today earlier, the one with the devil in the title that I did today that has devil in the title, without some kind of foul spirit of, but I can only maybe, what's the words? Compel to maybe take a look at a certain comment that I received, and I replied, but what I'm saying to look at is that comment is about the things I was talking about. If people can see it before it gets deleted, because so many times I've seen that when someone gives actual truth back, that things that they care and believe and see, people run and delete their things. But I took pictures of it because it's important, and the intention is not to kill or destroy, but to show that the things exist for people that need to see it, for maybe those that really haven't experienced or seen it. I don't know who that is. It just seems beneficial to me. And those that have, then they know this is something that's constantly happening and it doesn't surprise them. But those that haven't really seen or experienced how the enemy works, they're young. They need to know that it exists and that it's constantly attacking and trying to destroy. And it does it through clever, tricky, sneaky, dark devices. I can only then compel someone that maybe possibly doesn't believe fully, because it doesn't understand or see fully what evil is, what it really is, and how the enemy is using to try and trick and destroy his people, the body, constantly. And it's a tribulation just to receive that. And I know it has to come. If I curse the Father and die, I'm cursing the very thing that needs to come to prove that this faith is genuine and for further growing, to do good works, perfecting. The very thing people are running and teaching to run from is an absolute requirement that he sends to his people and doesn't send to those that don't want it. It's very important. What they want, they get. So this comment has something to do with that, on how tricky these things are. And I don't even enjoy seeing it, because no one is what we see or what we think they are when we're carnal, like we used to think. If you have Messiah in you, the devil's sending messengers and things and experiences to try and test you and destroy you. And it will destroy those that are not genuine. That's the thing. But those that are, it refines those that don't turn back. And it kills and destroys those that do and are not genuinely following Messiah wherever he goes. So that video, free will, it's a devil teaching, that there's a comment there for now. It's there for now. But it's important enough to me that I snapped a picture of it just in case, because it's not personal. It's examples of what happens all the time. It's what everyone does. It's what the carnal man doesn't understand. It's always, this is what we always do, what we're stopping doing. Stop doing these bad works. He shows us how. It's not one person or two. This is who and what it is. This is what the spiritual war is, something that Christianity has no clue what is. They don't experience it because the testing came and the plant died. That's what Messiah is saying. It had joy for a time, it sprouted. Testing came. Anything but good ground, deep good ground, it will die and not bear and handle the testing. From that point forward, it runs from it and never receives it and never is experiencing it for Messiah's namesake. What it dies and run from, it cannot have. So it doesn't have this specific tribulation and judgment and fire and testing in their life for the purpose of refining and correcting and proving that faith is genuine. That's what we learn about Abraham. That's for us. It's not about the Father not knowing. That's stupid. He knows. And I'm saying maybe the angels don't know, but that's not something that concerns me. You know, it's interesting. I would like to know. I don't believe the angels know what the Father knows, like for future. It's just something to think, you know, it could be that that's true. And I'm leaning in that direction that they don't know. And his messengers do his will. It's what the angels do. There's no sin in heaven. We're hoping that earth becomes heaven, you know. Sin in heaven, well, what? That's what the enemy teaches, that it's like this now because of sin and corruption above. That's as above, so below, satanic garbage. Has to do with free will, has to do with, you know, another 5 hours connecting all these things. Pride, rebellion, no self-denial of self to rely on our Father for everything and say, I don't know what truth is. I don't know when I'm deceived. I don't know anything. And because of that, we start knowing, but it didn't come from us. Those that know in the delusional carnal mind, they don't actually know. It's a test. Go and kill your son, which is a type of the Father killing the only begotten, the Messiah, his son, and then sons afterward that needs to become just like Messiah, sons, in the same way. The word needs to become in them, and it needs to become, his word needs to become manifested in our flesh, you know, the thing that people hate and run from and teach otherwise. Jonah ran away. We find out this is what the carnal mind does, right? And the Son comes and tests the thing, and that he's happy, and it's he's got some shade blocking some of that real hard heat, and then that thing dies and there's no shade anymore, and he's running and running, and our Father's gonna catch him. He's gonna catch them all, Pokemon, you know. But I really mean it, though, even though that maybe is a little bit funny, but I mean it. But what's happening right now is the many are running, and they run away, they die. But those that he must drag in, they try to run and they can't run for forever. His love is too great. His power is too great. It's irresistible. That's what it means. The apostle is saying, it's irresistible. You'll want to do what's right. It's genuine. It's not fake. Someone that would teach that it's fake, it's real sick. They're still stuck in delusion with free will, no tribulation, you know, everything that's a lie. You know, what the Father is making us become is actually a trick and fakery. Deep inside, they don't want it. No, that's what he's changing. He's changing them. They're being transformed into light, into his image. It's a genuine one. It's not fake, because he's showing them light. They were darkness, showing them that was ugly. We acknowledge, and we're in agreement now that it is ugly, and sin and evil and darkness and death. The only other thing now is light, his truth, his way. Then they start wanting to do his way because there's blessings. They have life. The more they do, the more blessed they are. The more that they have, the more that's required of them. The more that someone's given, the more responsibility they have. What kind of responsibility? Shepherds leading to the shepherd. That's all. Simple words, but it has a lot to do with everything in life. Their job is to guard and watch and feed the sheep. They ought to do this because he did it to them. What kind of spirit, what kind of genuine belief unworthy servant doing what we ought to do. No one will believe that you're actually doing that. That's carnal. They can't. We have a duty to do what we ought to do, to give as he gave us, and that's how his kingdom's backwards from this dark devil's kingdom, beastly kingdoms, the god of this world, Satan, the devil, all his messengers of darkness, the stars of your gods, the dark ones. So much noise, man. Loud blasting, loud mufflers, loud everything, it's fading away. All that stuff's fading away. It's fading away now for us, but it will be fading away for the world. So what manner should someone be if these things all will fade away and mean nothing? What someone loves and attached to is being destroyed and will be nothing. What will that make of them? Judgment. That's the point. Where will they be? Judgment. What will their works have done? Nothing. It will be cut off and destroyed. It will not be rewarded, only judged. Pride needs to be heard a lot. With a prideful, I want to control people. I want everyone to love me and like me. I want to be cooler than people, better than people. That's pride. They literally just went in a circle, did that twice. They didn't know where they're going. I don't know. Well, they don't spiritually know where they're going. Carnal man doesn't want to freely give. Are you kidding me? There's not even a drop of giving in the heart of a carnal man to freely give, to actually do that with no return, no carnal gain. The only thing people love, the world, carnal things, material things, and everything in it, to not have that in their heart, no gain, no, this is what they don't, it can't do that because that's what it is. It's attached to that. To not receive any of that as a gain is worthlessness and garbage and evil to them. They're not going to do work for nothing. That's what it is to them, because they're not receiving heavenly gifts and spiritual blessings from above or any responsibility at all. That doesn't exist for them. Therefore, his truth doesn't exist. They don't want to do anything that won't gain them some kind of selfish benefit. The comment has to do with raptures, and it's going to happen today, the 12th. And if not, I'm saying tomorrow, the 13th, the number of rebellion. Read the comment while you can. Or I'll just write whatever I took a picture of and do it anyways, because light is exposing darkness. I'm not afraid of doing that for the right intention. Because I believe, from what I can see, there's at least some, maybe very few, that are young, and they're just starting to see some things. And maybe they need to really see how the enemy works so that they can see the words, the truth that's coming from anybody that's speaking truth is indeed true, and that it's happening constantly. And what we thought about guarding the house is a pretty serious job, full time. But he's got to get us in this world in a position where we can not be consumed by the world and thinking about it. He'll do it. If you're his, he's already made a way. People doubt that way exists. Whatever I'm doing right now, which I don't know how long I'll be doing, that's just the way he's, that's where he gets us. We don't know anything. We don't have plans 10 years ahead. We don't do this anymore. It's foolishness to us. But whatever I'm doing right now, I'm able to meditate on seeking the kingdom. He allows me to do that. He made a way for me. Up to this point, there's been a lot of tribulation and things didn't look so good. And it was just a stepping stone to the next place. That's all. That's what I want people to see and believe for real, for our Creator. That whatever looks bad right now for them is just a stepping stone so that they can meditate and seek the kingdom better for what it leads to. So that thing that leads to that was actually important. But if I look back at the jobs and experience and things and positions I was in, it didn't look so good. I didn't know what was next. When I quit my job not too long ago, 3 years, and it was one of those dark sinking right at the bottom before he picked me back up. You know, it was literally like that. I'm like, it humbles you, you know. You don't know what you're going to do. You have to survive somehow, but you don't want to have that focus. You don't want to have the heart of seeking the world and focus on how is he going to do it? I didn't know. That's the whole point. We don't know. We just believe he will. So if there's somebody out there that needs to hear this, you know, maybe where they're at right now is not, they don't think it's very good, but just keep going, you know. It has to be that way. We don't know. It's going to lead to something that is purposeful and meaningful, and we just didn't see it or know it. You know, Abraham didn't truly know. He could say, maybe this will happen. I don't know, though. He didn't know. Kill your son sounds crazy, right? And he's ready to do it. We didn't know. But the purpose is to make sure the faith is genuine. It's for our benefit. It's not the Father doesn't know. But it is an angel that did that. And maybe the angels truly don't know what the Father knows, like the future, you know. But put that aside. It doesn't. That's not the focus. The focus is that's for our benefit. You know, like the Creator says, "Where are you, Adam?" It's for our benefit. He's not confused, you know. But carnal, you know, it's going to confuse people. Carnal people. Where are you? You hiding? I mean, it reveals such a different picture when the meaning is given. That this Father of ours is not a monster. Now it appears scary to us, right? Because that's what he's teaching. We're going to hate him. We're afraid of him. But he only has the best intentions. And he's going to dish out the judgments too. Adam and Eve are afraid of him, hiding from the Creator. That's the point. It's the true understanding that needs to be understood. We can't do any different. So they grow up. The point is you grow up, you know, you start believing in the Creator that he will get you where you need to be. If he's doing the works, then to not believe he can do the works is a sin, you know. It needs to be said. Does that mean I did that right all the time? No. But it is a mistake. It's a sin. It's a lack of belief. A sin of unbelief. It's testing the person, and they're going to fail, or they're going to continue, and it's going to have a purpose of refining them. It's doing those two, dividing and separating, or refining you. This needs to happen to everyone, but in all his wisdom, this must be the only way, you know, right now, that it's happening for a few. And unfortunately, his own creation, his own people, disobedient children, become enemies of his actual people. And we have to warn people about them, but we don't want them to die. We don't want them to die forever. Secretly, that's what people do want, though. That's what they don't say. You know, otherwise they wouldn't believe in their heart these evil doctrines, you know, the secret things that the doctrine can only, someone can only have that in their heart and believe and hold on to that evil doctrine, because that's what deep inside spiritually the heart is already, you know. And when it's not, it's puke to us, so it is removed. It's far from us. It exists, but not in us anymore, because it's not us, because he's changing us inside. So then that doctrine goes bye-bye, you know, go away, flee from me. But that's going to come across as hateful, you know. And I'm just saying, if you want to, read the comment on that title I did with the free will and the devil. Someone made a comment. If you want to read it, read it. If not, hey, that's what the creator is doing for whatever reason. If it's true and a righteous intention, then I can't judge it. But if it's something evil, though, I'm not afraid to expose it. Read it for the sake of, like, that's what I'm talking about, and here it comes a comment, like, boom, great, now what? I can't believe it. And it keeps on going like that. It's going to keep going like that. Compare the comment, and look how good one looks, and look how evil what I wrote looks. I'm trying to say that that's what it is. That's what it has to be. Which one actually cares? Let our Father give the true answer to that. What is this thing doing? And what is this thing doing? Is this thing fake? And is this thing real? What is it? Because that's what we have to learn, because he sends people constantly our way that's going to test us and try to mix some truth, weird, strange things. And I don't like it. I don't want to see that, but I have to see it. Something with the full moon, something that I did come to some kind of understanding, and I do believe that, but without seeking the Father's will for real, whatever this truth he shows us, it is good to know, is worthless. Someone could believe something about the Sabbath day, full moon, whatever. Here's an example, here it is. It's like, wow, blow my mind again. They're doing that. I'm saying they're doing that, and here it is. There's the proof they're doing it. They take what they hear and mix it with some evil lie, because they're trying to trick and destroy his people. The devil's ultimately doing this, but through the people they do it. It's not what I want to see, man. So if I do anything, I'm just relying on him more and more clearly and more often reminded. And he will do it, man. He will do it. He will make you do what's not a sin and evil. Like, you ask him to do something with the right intention, and you believe he can do it. But he's doing that right now. He's doing that. He's working it out. That's what we need to ask for. And those that are afraid of tribulation, don't want it, teach people so, or any kind of lie, they're Jonah running away, from tribulation. It's such a massive revelation of really seeing these things, what Jonah is for our benefit. Now, whoever the Father is really going to drag in, choose, whoever that is, his love is irresistible. I read that. They can't run forever. And it's real. It's not fake, like someone might try to say. Are we robots? They get into these carnal things that we also didn't understand. No, it's real. He's actually doing real change. The very thing that people don't believe he can do. He's splitting the Red Sea right now for his people. It's real. Okay, that's not what we're concerned with. That's not what we're looking for. If I don't see the Red Sea literally split or something like that in my life, I won't believe in him. It's a trap, because that was for the natural. That was for something that wasn't within yet. So it has to be without. And he shows them the power. He's good to them even then, shows them. But to want that same thing now is wrong, evil. Not that it wasn't back then, it just wasn't revealed. So he's doing those miracles spiritually. He's giving proof. He's not unfair. He's making ways. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's splitting the Red Sea. But you have to have spiritual eyes to see that he's doing these powerful things. Those that don't won't see it. Therefore, they're waiting for the Red Sea to get split. And I'm not even saying literally but in the heart, it's like waiting for that. It doesn't understand. They require a sign, and it's not coming. It's time to grow up, people, Messiah is saying. No sign is coming that you want. You know the weather for tomorrow, or maybe guess it right, but you don't know the sign of the times. The sign that is all around us all the time is what they don't see and what we start seeing, you know. And the reason why I would say go read this thing is because there's something that said this is going to happen today or tomorrow at the latest. I believe that's what it is. 12th or the 13th, the rapture. Okay. This person appears to be serious. They're saying this. Why did they come to me and do that? Why did they write that? And they let me know they love me so much, you know. Now, if someone doesn't love someone, what must they do? Say how often they love you and want your family blessed. And there is a real way of doing this, but I'm saying it happens most of the time that it's fraudulent. Most of the time, what we'll see is that's being said because the opposite is true. More hard words, you know. More hard words. So the thing needs to be discerned. It can't just be believed. I would like to believe it, but he always reminds me right away, instantly, something's not right. As soon as I start reading, I'm like, okay, oh, this is not right. Okay, so I wait, read some more, and wait a little bit, see what he's saying, and it's not good. So then I started writing what I could see. I don't, and I say this with knowing that I didn't know either, but do people think this was some kind of joke? Like that it wouldn't be deceiving and hard and tricky and all these things, you know? In a way, that's good because it's becoming a reality, and that's a good thing for us. But in a way, it's like, oh, I didn't expect this. Both are true. Why the hornet honking? Uh, it's prophesying something. That's one part of the thing I would like someone to just, as an example. It's not about the person or personal at all. It's what people do all the time, carnal. So I read, and now it has more value and meaning to me than ever before because it's for us. We start learning his words for us, against us. That if someone makes a prophecy and it doesn't come true, don't worry, don't fear about that prophet. He didn't hear from me, which means that's a liar and a deceiver. So I wrote a lot saying these things that I know are true. What's going to happen to that person? Well, I can only hope one thing, but if I don't see it, I'm not surprised. Let's just put it that way. We're so blinded that we don't realize that that's an evil sin, to make a prophecy and then it doesn't come true and completely ignore it as if it doesn't even exist. And the people don't see it. They go back to this false prophet, whoever it is, anyone, and 500 years ago, 1,000, 1,500. They go back to him without realizing that that was a false prophecy. If it didn't come true, that's a liar. Okay, we're all sinners. Repent now. And it doesn't come. And they go back to him. They don't repent. How come they didn't repent? Who are they? Do I know them? Does Messiah know them? Strangers they won't follow, will they? I'm genuinely going in my mind. Who is that person? I don't know him or her, whoever it is. It doesn't seem like I know them. It's genuine. I don't know. You know, it doesn't look good so far. There's no condemnation in a sick, evil way going on. It's just, it needs to discern between good and evil. When someone tries to say that can't be done or is not true, they're taking away everything that's righteous, all of it. If I'm not allowed to discern between good and evil and there's a true way of doing that, you took away everything that's good. You took away everything that his people need to learn to do. because it's not going to be handed on a plate for them. They have to go through the experience of discerning between good and evil on the tree, separating it. There's a wrong way to do everything, of course, but I'm saying they do this, they'll say this to try to get to hush up the truth and cover their lie. I don't want you to do this at all. The more he gives me to see, it's like the more tribulation it is. And then I'm like, oh, great. And then you just ask that you could do it. I wouldn't expect the many to believe, and the many don't believe and won't believe. You probably think I'm lying when I say nobody loves me in real life. They don't. They probably think I'm lying. And that's what I would expect. And I'm saying it has to happen. It's not like for pity. It can't be for pity. You know, that's cowardly. But it's just that it needs to be said that it's true. That's the only way it could be. The more someone shines the Father's light in them, the more they grow, the more they shine, the more offensive they become to everyone around them, the more their words sting and destroy. You know, the more people will see it as hate. There's no one with a backbone. Where are they? You know, spiritual backbone. They stand up for what they know is true. There's a form of that, but I'm saying when truth comes to that form, it falls apart. There was no backbone after all. He makes us strong. He tells us that over and over. He tells his people, look, all you do is believe that I'll do it. It really is that simple. Doesn't mean it will be easy, but I'll do it. Great lesson that we learn that the many don't do it. You know? Learn from them, the apostles saying, look how many died. Look how many were destroyed on the way. They didn't make it. It doesn't mean that there's hopelessness forever for them, but this is, someone can't see how this is important or valuable. It must be that they're carnal still, you know. So if that's the case, they have to go back to what they were doing, which is finding something in this world to be obsessed with and love in the heart. They want to try to hide that they don't worship anything. Yes, they do. There's a void and blackness and darkness before creation is given lost. And if they try to say that's not true about them, they're lying. What they are, they'll make fun of people to cover that they are that. That's what I'm saying happens the most. So how do you know when it's true? How do you know when it's true? If everyone's doing the same thing, see? They talk about it. I hear the words. They'll say some right words about God filling the void and stuff, but does it come with real belief and understanding? You know, do they know what it really means? Do they believe it according to what it really means? Knowing that a carnal man could never admit that he's void and blackness and dark in religion, how could it do that? That means his religion doesn't work. They can't admit their religion doesn't work. Can't do that. He teaches us that it doesn't work, and we know it doesn't work. It's death in there, cage, frogs, blood, locusts eating up all the things. They don't reap what they sow. You know, they're hungry, thirsty all the time. So they try to fill some other way, whatever the carnal mind thinks or whatever the devil's deception is. And they don't know, you know, and that's why we start to know that that's what people are. And we just want to lead them in the right direction. That's what a shepherd, that's what a little shepherd's purpose is to do, is to lead to the true shepherd. So it goes in line with it. Because if that little shepherd doesn't get down below someone else's knees, it's a false shepherd. If it stands on a podium above everyone, it's a false shepherd because They don't believe Messiah's words. He lived the example of being below everyone. And that means something spiritual, but we get the picture for us. That's how our Father teaches. Anytime that physical temple was standing, it's a picture. It's still a picture of things that are now and to come, Temple got destroyed. The apostle says he destroys the temple that does such and such. That's us. He does that. He destroys it, So anyone that says he doesn't destroy and judge and do these things are an enemy because of the 10,000 trillion things that are connected to that. That's true. That needs to go away also now because of this doctrine over here. That's a lot. It's a lot of work. But maybe that's what work is, a type of the true work. Did anyone ever think of it like that before our Father shows them? They're happy to work 12 hours a day in slavery and making someone else money all the time. What if that work represents something? And that because they do this work, they are contradicting themselves. If only they could see it. When they pull weeds out, they pull themselves out without even knowing it. When they spray these weeds that don't want to go away and they keep coming back, they spray themselves and it doesn't want to go away and it keeps coming back, doesn't it? Evil keeps coming our way, doesn't it? Testing keeps coming our way, doesn't it? Maybe that's why something is said about pulling everything up at once. Well, that just kind of hit me on something a little bit deeper and new. Because whatever it is on the surface, that's not what the meaning is. So there's a separation, it needs to be. But if everything just blindly got pulled out at once, he would pull out the wheat too. Isn't that what I read? Maybe at the very end, it will be separated and then it's pulled. Up until that time, it's not. In the world, like as in a literal manifestation, like everyone will have chosen the devil as their God and the others won't, and they'll be separated. I don't know. It makes sense to me. I know that blasphemous image of the Messiah that didn't keep the commandments so that we keep them is a false image, spiritual. Where there's a real attachment to the false Messiah. So there's a sorrow and a real death to let that go. It has to be like that. There would be a real sorrow and death if we let the true Messiah go. We don't want that. It gives us the ability and power to not want something that's bad, evil. And Messiah prays for us, and if he didn't, we'd go away. We'd slip and we wouldn't get back up. How's that for free will? It just keeps going. If Messiah didn't pray for such and such disciple, Satan would have sifted him like wheat, and this is spiritual. He would have went away from Messiah. No life, destruction, carnal like everyone else. But he says, I prayed for you. He's the mediator, He's not doing that for the wicked. Can't we see that? In the same way right now, because to do that would be going against everything that's true that our Father is and teaches is true. What does it come across as? Confusion, enmity, delusion, definitely hatred. When they read, I don't pray for Judas, they don't see that at all. Because whatever someone wants to be blinded from, they are. They could read that, it doesn't mean anything to them. When you teach them what this means and then you quote the words, it's evil to them all of a sudden. proving they don't know that Messiah. It's a real thing. How could they hate what Messiah is teaching someone else to believe and see? Because we know Messiah is not divided. If that's happening, we know it's another Messiah. Even though the man walks away or hangs himself, nothing's impossible with our Father, but that is the end, destruction. Nevertheless, we can't take away that truth. And there's a judgment now and in the future, and there was back then. So I've had these things happen before, and I've learned something from them. The thought of, I can't wait till this false prophet's wrong after the 13th becomes the 14th has happened to me before. He showed me not to do that. So now I'm focusing on not doing that with the heart. I could be sitting in the car and in sin. I have whatever he gives me, I have a certain confidence, but those testings have to come again and again because we'll do them wrong the first time. It's like the father picture, right? The earthly father holding the hand and telling the son to do something for the first time and never really did. Hold the hammer and hit the nail, and they can't do it. So he abandons them, right? No. He might hit his finger and hurt himself. He will hit his finger and hurt himself. Some time passes, he grows up. Do it again, because I'm going to keep giving you the same thing until you learn it. Wouldn't it be insane if I was talking about things that have no reality or meaning or no experience? That would be literally insane in an evil way. We're not confused over here in the body. We're not confused about what we need to become. Messiah says we know where we come from. We know where we're going. Doesn't mean we're there yet, but we are in the now and believe he will do it. The rest are not and don't believe he can do it. Don't want it. Those words are for us. So when I first really started seeing that, it's like, oh, he said we. He didn't just say himself. We know where we're coming. Who? He's the only begotten at the time. All those that follow after him, they also will know where they're going and where they're coming from. Where they're coming. The purpose of that is there's not a confusion about that. It doesn't mean literally we know what he's going to do next with us, or say go here or do this next. That's a separate thing. This thing is we're not confused about the purpose, where we're coming from, where we're going. Everyone else in the world has no true purpose. They're confused. It's called Mystery Babylon, confusion. Very thing that nobody believes that is actually real and absolute truth. They are given it and they are seeing it and they have it. They're not confused about this thing. We're not going to go, oh, my religion's wrong. It has nothing to do with that. This is real. Knowing our Creator is not religion, it's real. To compare it with religion's like a sin or something. Maybe that's why Jerusalem got destroyed, because look, if that's all it is on the outside, well, then that's not good, because that's not what it's about. Our Father has way more wisdom, care, love, real things, spiritual things, real things. So right away when someone says, well, my religion says to do this, I already know, because someone that's following Messiah would never say such a thing anymore with that actual real belief. My religion tells me to do this. What does that mean? They can't say that anymore. The beastly system that man created in and of this world is telling me what to do. No. Messiah is telling me what to do and where to go and how to keep these things. I don't see that confidence in carnal people or religion. They never speak like that with confidence because they can't, because it's not a reality. And no one can really fake real. But if they do a good job of deceiving everyone, including us, and we do that to others, it's a pretty good cover until he gets us to see the masquerade and the foolishness of it. But it is a good cover until it shows us real things, why people do them, why we did things, why we justified this or that for comfort and peace, false comfort. And when we do that, sword comes and judgment comes to take this peace away or to just continually not be there. Messiah said, I didn't come to do that, but to bring a sword and divide. I didn't come to bring peace like you say, carnal man. This is a separate understanding than the kingdom of heaven and what it will become and do in the future. This is right now, that future hasn't hit us yet. I don't know how else to say it. You have to do that constantly, rightly divide his word, because someone will hear that and apply it to something else that we did not intend to apply it to. And you have to explain it like a carnal way. He came to do what everyone hates, cause division between mother, brother, sister, father. Why is he doing this to me? Okay, here's some reassurance because I was blind here too. Here's what will happen to you. Here's what he will do. And then they start seeing that and believing it. And they grow a little more. They're not as confused or not knowing, the O ye of little faith grows a little bit. Because it happened to disciples, it happens to us, period, done. If they had little faith and had real genuine problems with it, we do too, in the beginning especially. Babies have problems. They don't really know anything. 3-year-olds don't know much. 5-year-olds know a little more. 10-year-olds know a little more. 12, 15, 20, 40 years in the desert. Whatever we think is mature is probably should not be believed as the thing that it needs to be still. That should be for us. Like especially if someone hasn't been a believer for 40 actual years, for real 40 years, not religion, but for real. That means there's always more growing, maturing to do. And when a mature dad that's been around a while speaks to the son, it's harsh, strict, scared of him, evil. Kid's not understanding. It's evil. Why is he hurting me? See how that's perceived? So when someone's more mature, it just has to be this way. It's just going to get worse and worse to the carnal man, but better and better concerning knowing our Father, becoming in his image. Race, blood, color doesn't have any concern concerning this truth. Gentiles are unbelievers. Jews are believers. That's it. Flesh profits nothing. Stay away from Gentiles for becoming one with them, because that was true yesterday. We read it. It's true right now. the sons of Elohim in Genesis, the mixing, the getting worse and worse until the flood, the natural types of what is happening right before our eyes, getting worse and worse before the end. It already happened. That's why I read it was. It always is. It's the spiritual understanding. And it is to come, but it always was too. It's pretty amazing. Questions are asked that people can't comprehend or ever thought of, Was Noah disappeared before the waters came? See, maybe I don't read it just like that in his word, but that's what it means to me right now, and it might mean more tomorrow. Did Noah disappear 7 years before the flood came? So there was just a boat, no water, and the water never came. They just disappeared. Then the flood came and Noah was already gone. That's not what I read. To ask it's so bad of an understanding that the question is stupid. And I'm not saying not to ask questions ever. I'm just saying if the understanding's real bad, then the question to sort of mock and expose that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean gone 7 years before the flood came? What are you talking about, rapture, man? And that's what the comment's about. Now I'm thinking, why was this received? Why did I get this? What is its intention and purpose? What is it doing here? Is it to add? Is it to sharpen iron? Or is it to stab with iron? One of the two things. People will read it. And it's not just me reading it. That's why it's tribulation, because trying to suck people in, man, into some delusion. And there's no better way or place to suck people in if they're still 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds. They just won't be able to understand. It'll sound good. They didn't learn what they need to yet, and they suck them in. But someone that's spiritually a little older, they're not buying. And these shepherds, whoever they are, they don't want people to get sucked in. It's not about us, we just don't want them, because we know where that direction goes. But the 7-year-old spiritually doesn't really. Why it's bad for them. They're guarding their house, and they want to guard and help to sound the trumpet for others. That's their only intention. False prophets have no love or care from the heart, for real. They let people come and watch the wolves eat the sheep. It's a bad picture. That's literally what it is. Here's wolves that are really wolves, okay, in the parable, and they come in and tear at the sheep. False prophets just run away, if they can get away themselves. They don't care. They don't care about wolves coming in and eating the flesh and feeding off of his people. Like I read, they eat my people. I read that. They don't care. So, but it doesn't really look like that here, does it, in this world? Like what I'm saying, it doesn't seem to be a reality for anyone, because it's not. Except for those that are being given understand it. It's actually happening, but unbelievers can't believe that's happening. And it's a bad thing that's happening, and it makes it look like the wolf is really evil. What you're claiming that false prophets do, people will perceive, and they say, you're saying this about my false prophet? And he tears and tries to kill, and he doesn't care, lets it happen. People come in, they do it. They don't care. They did it themselves. They will perceive that that's evil, but they can't believe that it's their prophet, because that goes back to them being deceived. And it can't be that they got deceived that bad. It's pride. Everyone got deceived. It is that bad. That's what the heart really is doing. Everything else is just a masquerade. It's what I mean by just wanting something real. Where is it? You know, there's a big line at Dairy Queen right now, but they're not understanding this. You know, they're getting Dairy Queen, and it's not to say that work, what they're doing, it has nothing to do with that. They're gonna all want to run. That's what I'm saying. If it was given, if there was a big speaker saying all these things, they would try to kill the person saying. No one wants to be exposed for covering themselves for all these years. It's not so hard to believe after a while, he shows us, but yeah, I could see the difficulty, the impossibility of saying that person is doing one of two things: tricking, stealing, killing, destroying. That's where it's leading to, it's why it's doing things, or it's not doing those things, which is life, you know, leading up to go to Messiah, go to the Father. Don't go to me, I'm just a servant. Don't bow to me. The angel, you know, to John, and he bows down because that's man's inclination, temptation, wants to do that quickly. Don't bow to me, I'm just a fellow servant of the tribulation, a messenger. That's what I read in Revelation. That sounds really important for right now, doesn't it? Because it is. People will want to quickly bow and think some man is great. There's nothing great here. You're watching a dark, evil sinner acknowledging all that and needing the Father to do everything in them because they're a dark, evil sinner. They can't do it themselves. Don't worship that. You know, like I'm trying to bring out why it's a sin. People do that with their false prophets, you know. And what happens when the false prophet is okay with that happening? He ignores, forgets, doesn't see that he's a dark, evil sinner, needs a lot of help, healing, and instead stands up and says, I'm God, and the pride kicks in, and they're okay with people spiritually worshiping them, which is worshiping evil. Can't ever forget those words, just a fellow messenger. Don't bow down to me. Go in this direction. See? How come they never could give that about themselves, false prophets? Maybe it's because they're doing it. Maybe it's because that's what they really want, to be great in this kingdom, in this beastly kingdom. Those that are least now, spit on, crown of thorns, they're nobodies in reality to this world. The least will be the greatest. The greatest will be the least. And so the biggest kings, you know, they got something else coming. The chosen ones, LeBron James, big kings in this world, big kings, popes, or any other smaller king. They've raised themselves up as kings when they need to die because they're no good either. They're carnal too. They need to die too. Messiah is the example. And the Father worked through him and in him and used him as that example, not an actual reality of sin himself, because the Father is in him, working in him to be that perfect example. But if the Father didn't, he would be. So it doesn't matter. He's the perfect example. It's not a lie. This is perfection. Now, we're not given the exact same thing as him right now, you know? But yet we are being given the same things. We weren't born again from above, from birth, with another level of his spirit working in him, because that's not us, you know. It's part of denial of self. And yet it is us. They don't understand that he's special among the special. It's the way it is. Our Creator made it to be so, you know. He's King of Kings. I can't change that. There's something different about him. But yet he's us. He's human, man, you know. He's no different than us. It's just the Father used him in a higher position, more special, if you will. They don't teach this in the church world. They want to just say he's God and it's over, and they throw away all this truth, because what the reality and spiritual thing that this leads to for someone is not following the true Messiah, because they don't believe he was an actual man. They don't believe in the testimony of the Father working in him. This is the very thing everyone rejects as carnal. So they came up, you know, ultimately the devil and doctrine of demons to overthrow that truth. But the outer thing won't look exactly like what they really mean, because if it did, it would be too obvious. Camouflage. You know, if it didn't camouflage pretty good, most of the time it would be spotted by other things. Maybe even a lizard camouflaging. If it's not doing a good enough job, something's going to eat it and kill it and attack it, and that's just the way it is. Nobody wants to be spotted as that. They have to maintain that they're good. The very thing we're not, actually, you know. It's such a good deal that it becomes harder and harder to believe that people don't want this. You know, and I know why, you know, but it becomes harder to, like, it just becomes harder to believe it. But you have to remember, or else you'll be okay with people bowing to you spiritually. That pride kicks in. And he resists the proud. You know, I've said it so many times, so many simple scriptures that cannot be contradicted. Why is pride really bad? Because he resists the proud. They will not hear from him at all, meaning they're not doing his will, they're not doing his works. They are enemies. They are of the devil still. He's resisting them. So every doctrine could be exposed as prideful when it is, and we're looking for that in the doctrine, because when they give it to people, they feed them pride, if that's what the doctrine really means. Try to tell people and they don't want to believe it. It's prideful to think that Messiah is divided, there's two kingdoms, there's two gospels. This is one way I've seen a lot of evil come in this way for even saying these things. It's just the way it is. It has to be. He preached the gospel of the kingdom. One. It's unity, one thing. Not two things for carnal blood Jews and then we're above them. If we believe in this gospel over here that came from Paul, if we could see how spiritually evil and backwards this is, it's so simple. What do they have to imply? Remember, every dark, evil lie is always stupid and contradicting in reality. It just needs to be given to see it. They're implying and saying without a doubt that Paul created this gospel and it came from Paul's heart himself. That's what they mean by my gospel. It has to mean that when they teach a certain thing, then this also. And all the people jumping up and down, believing the false prophet, that doesn't go on in their mind. They don't think that. So when that's asked, it's viciously attacked to try and hide that that's what it is by all of them. I read somewhere, I tell the truth and do not lie. But so many people would say that, right? When a carnal man says it, it doesn't care that it sins. And someone that has Messiah in them, it better be true when they say that, because they already know judgment's coming. And how do we know it's true? He just gives us that confidence. He gives it, shows it. They literally teach celestial. This is one example of what doctrine is, what it really is. And then the bottom, like terrestrial, celestial, I get confused between the two. One is above, one is like below. If you go on this route, this gospel, when you start exposing it, they start backtracking on the very things that they themselves said word for word. When you start exposing something, they're being trapped by the truth. And they even have to backtrack the very simple words they said. That's what they do. You can never actually corner them, and that's not the intention. It's to bring out the truth and expose a lie so people can see it. But a carnal man is such a god in his own mind, he can never be cornered. So he'll do whatever he wants, thinking we can't see that they're doing that. We say, you can't do this. And they say, yes, we can. And everyone believes him. And we go marvel and wonder that everyone's marveling and wondering after the beast. They say, I could do this. And then it's true. They're God. I could do a lie and contradict when I need to. And everyone believes it's okay. When I say something's a lie and contradiction and it's a lie, then everyone believes that's okay. Just whatever they say goes. God. Not how it works. We can't say anything. We can't make things up and do whatever we want. They'll claim we do that because they do it. The very thing they do, they say we do, and there's no evidence that we do it. Everything and trick they do, there's an answer for, and it's given to them freely, and they don't believe that it's happening. They're asking out of trickery to try to trap. We're giving freely with no intention to kill or trap. They don't believe it's happening. It is amazing. It shows the deception and power of our Creator and the devil too, like the deception and evil and the weakness of mankind, showing all these things. Showing that everyone believes they're God in their mind, they're always right, they don't need the Creator for anything. Someone that's prideful doctrine's not prideful then because they're prideful. They won't see light because there's nothing to contrast. When he shows us what it means to be prideful and humble, there's two things to compare and contrast. That doesn't exist with someone that's in the darkness still. So they won't see pride when it hits them, and they'll teach it and not really understand what they're doing, that they are doing that. The people will go to Jerusalem and we'll be above them. Two different kingdoms. No evidence or any scripture that teaches this nonsense, and people are okay with it. Because they want to believe something. They're not relying on our Father for actual truth. They want to believe that's true, and so they do. When they give verses, they give with the want to believe that's true. It's a false way of giving in the first place. They can't actually do that, and yet they do. We can't do that. So what's the true way? Well, when it's given freely from above, it's given freely down here to people, which came from above, which didn't come from me or someone else down here. The way he did it, he teaches us to do it because he's not a hypocrite and prideful and all these things that man is. When Messiah gives truth, the Father working in him, and he's doing it, he never did it the way that darkness does it. That's why everyone hates him, because he's speaking of things he knows true and are real, and everyone's masquerading and they're not real, and they're doing everything with evil heart. They don't want evidence of this. Deep down inside, they don't want to see that. They don't believe that there's anyone overcoming sin. because they don't want to overcome sin. Whatever someone wants to believe, they will. How will we know what to do then? Well, we don't want anything then. We just want whatever is true. And maybe what we want, we receive. So if those that really want truth and seek the Father with their heart, mind, soul, they receive that true things. Crazy world. Always trying to make you look like you're insane, but that's how it has to be. Going off on something they can't see. It makes us look crazy. That person says he loves you and he's talking about rapture and it's good. He wants the best intention for you. You're insane. What are you doing? You're evil. Right? Backwards everything. Backwards everything. Today's the 12th, I guess, pagan 12th, and tomorrow's the 13th. Rapture's coming today or tomorrow. Tonight, it's almost tonight, or tomorrow at the latest. And there's many people that have dreams, and they'll use the word sisters, brothers, that had dreams. It's pretty hard to expose or go against something, right, that looks good. Those that cower to walk away accept that evil. We face death daily. That's what Messiah did. He wasn't afraid of it. He had to do it. He had to expose those Pharisees when they taught lies in his face, and he's teaching them truth. And it exposed them for what they are. He wasn't a coward. Our Creator doesn't create cowards. Cowards hate truth. Those who hate truth are cowards, one and the same. We need to go away from that. Cowards can't do or say what the Father is telling his people to do and say, because they love themselves above all things and don't want tribulation, and they're not a sacrifice. And if some real dark, hard things come to that person, they do it anyways. If Messiah is going to die, he's giving anyways, regardless of what comes his way. That's called sacrifice, spiritual sacrifice. What the world says is sacrifice is not sacrifice. What the world says is humble has nothing to do with humble. That's the devil's worldly wisdom to invert and teach 180 everything that exists from our Father. That's it. Calling billionaires and millionaires that want the praise and worship of thousands and millions of fans is not humble. Period. And yet that's all you'll ever see. Humble. Who's not humble? Well, someone that maybe throws a fist, gets a little too angry. That's not humble. That's not true either. Because they're just talking about a masquerade. Rip the skin off and throw it in the garbage. What was that? Nothing. It's just a masquerade. It's nothing real. And they like these symbols, half wolf, half sheep, half man, half donkey, half mermaid, half woman, whatever. That's what this world is about. And we learn it in the scriptures that they build gods in their own image. The things they believe and teach, they build. And then they command people to worship the thing they built, religion, their own God, and they continue to become that continually. don't mix, will mix. Don't have these things, heaven, on the earth, or in the sea, will do exactly that in our hearts. And then they build the outward thing that points back to the real thing. Israel go and break these things, but did they really break the real thing? They broke what that represents, but they didn't hit the real thing yet. You know, break this and destroy it because it's evil. What it means and points to is evil. But without the Father working in us, someone will do that with pride and think they're better than everyone else. Breaking this thing, you know, that could happen. Where they don't actually break the real thing. You know. So now the thing I've been speaking about and afraid to see, and that it exists, and that I've been saying it's going to happen, and it's happening, that people will take truths, new things being revealed, and it could be anything, right? Something about anything that's his truth, or anything. In this case, Sabbath day, full moon, the beastly calendar, right? They'll take that, mix it with a lie to try and throw down the actual truth. And that's what the comment was from. That's why it came. Why did it mention the full moon? How did they even know that I've said something about it? Could it be the devil told them to do that? That just because someone says words, it doesn't mean anything by itself? You know, you just can't get to the heart of the problem. It's only good if it's being kept what that thing means. So now what we have for sure that exists is, looks like someone may be keeping the Sabbath day, at least on the shell, the outer, full moon, whatever, you know, not exposing the beastly calendar, and telling me a rapture's coming tonight or tomorrow for sure. Why does that exist? Because things are being revealed and the devil needs to mix the pot and to take down the truth and make it look stupid at the same time and evil. All these things at once. That's why there needs to be so many divisions, because whenever someone gets close to entering the kingdom, he needs to take a messenger, deceive him, grab some of these true words and mix it with massive lies to go and take down that person. You see, whatever's going on, spiritually take them down. And anything that's true, I believe, is important. You know, it's true, it's important, but only remembering that these things have value when it's because we're doing it from the heart inside, that then that thing has value now. There's too many people that will take the words they hear, and there is no heart. It's a stone. There's no heart. And mix it with something to try and trap and catch people so that they're worshipped and they have their following to keep them from going and entering the kingdom on the narrow way. And that's why there's thousands of divisions and groups out there. And what it also does is make it look foolishness to the world, that if there is 2 or 3 true believers, it will make that look foolishness, because it's just like everything else, one of thousands of divisions. But it's really not. So no one will believe them. It does that too. It's real disgusting what it does. So what good is it then to talk about the heavens, his clock, his calendar, and to start having some of these words, and they could be true, and have a bunch of other false demonic things inside, and then speak the words as if they're right next to each other, that these are all one. Someone sees that it also says these words, and it thinks it's true because of it. That's the whole point the devil's doing. It's the whole point. There's people here now seeing and learning this. The only way to catch as many as he can is to say the words they're saying and steal it, and give Messiah a kiss for silver, so that they can take down people, more people. The devil takes them down spiritually. How else does he do it? There's no other way. He couldn't destroy his word, his literal word. He couldn't destroy it, so he had to become it. And it was like one massive thing for so long. And then a little bit more light came, it like pushed the darkness. Someone did this or did that. Now there's Bibles going everywhere. The very thing that the devil didn't want to happen started happening. The only way to trap and deceive more people is to create more divisions and become those things, to suck each one in their own group. It's like a giant system of evil. And I'm like, who's telling them to do this? Because every time I see that, it feels like someone told them to come here and do that. I instantly get that if something's false and I read it or see it. It looks fake. It feels fake spiritually, and it feels spiritually like someone just told them to do that. Like it's not genuine. I've said in the past, like how deception works. Like, is someone telling them to do all these things? It's like uniform, the symbols, the signs, they're all doing this. Is it a grand conspiracy where they sit down at a table and say, do this, do that? I don't think it's like that. I mean, it could be partly like that, but I don't think that's how it goes. People going into the bottomless pit to try to expose it all. They dive in and they never come out because it's bottomless. And they didn't think it was, I guess. Smoke from the bottomless pit. Learn from it. They'll say things that they think is true and they just might not be true. And it's going too far. It's too crazy. Too grand of a conspiracy. And what he's showing me, yeah, it is probably mixed, but it's not 100% what people say. It's the devil telling everyone to do these things at the same time. They're the great lying wonders. That's why it's like, did someone tell them? They don't have to even try. They just do what their father tells them. That's never considered. It seems like that those that took the red pill never considered, doesn't understand that. So they're trapped by the bottomless pit itself by trying to expose it all day long. We can know about some of these things and know it exists, but the heart intention isn't to do that. There's a specific thing I'm talking about where that's their focus. That's what they specialize in, this thing over here. And that's all they do. They get stuck in it spiritually. They dived in and can't come out. And then another one that swallowed some red pill is specializing in this and that and this. And that's all they care about. There is no Father in them. There is no care or love for actual truth. They found a way to make themselves look good by specializing in something that Satan just keeps shooting himself in the foot. Casts out demons by the power of demons. It's actually happening, and they contradict and destroy each other. It can't stand. That's what Messiah is talking about. Are you saying that's what's happening for real? Telling the Pharisees, are you saying, what this means? Are you really trying to tell me that this is what the reality is, because it doesn't exist. This doesn't actually stand or exist. If I'm doing this by the power of demons, you see, he exposed their wicked contradiction. That's Satan casting out Satan. Then the house can't stand. That's their understanding. It must be what they do. Yes, it's what they do. What they accused him of doing, they do. Well, we got trapped so far by our Father's truth that they have to say something stupid real bad now. We don't go anywhere else to go. Okay, so then what he's doing is by the power of demons. Take that. They don't realize what they just did or said. They revealed themselves. So that's divided. The world's divided like that. And his body's not divided like that. There's no reality to that. See, there's nothing that's actually standing with our Creator that's divided like that. It can't stand. A house divided can't stand. Messiah's not doing this to Messiah. He's not doing this to himself and to other believers. Casting himself out. It's stupid. It's evil. That's why the apostle brings this up, because the same Messiah taught him. Are you saying Messiah casts out Messiah? You know, what are you guys doing over here, carnal? Is Messiah divided? Is Yahushua divided? He's asking them because the answer is no, and they don't realize that that's what they're doing. Are you yet carnal? That was the question. Are they yet carnal? Carnally minded is death. Carnally minded is an enemy. You know, the Father is their enemy right now if they're carnally minded. And the Father's their enemy and they're his enemy. You know, it's one and the same. What people can't take is having lots of enemies. This absolute truth separates the people from the false also. The true way has a lot of enemies, and it has to be like that. This is what they run from. This is why rapture is coming tonight or tomorrow at the latest. I try to go into the spiritual problem of why that's even taught. That's what people can't see. When that's brought up, something real, why it's taught, that's what they hate because it's true and real. Rapture because there's no tribulation and they don't want it. That's what's in their heart. They don't want it. If it was in their heart that they know that tribulation must be true and it comes and they're accepting this, they wouldn't teach there's no tribulation. It's not that hard. If we don't murder people in our heart, we won't murder them with a gun or sword. If we don't commit adultery in our mind, we won't commit adultery. Absolutely not. The fact that it is committing adultery means it's already in their heart. Rapture, no tribulation, and no pain when we're gathered. Don't forget to say no pain. Means those things are all in that person's heart right now. And it's got is pain, but it's in delusion. It doesn't want that to be true, so it thinks it's not true, and it teaches it's not true. It doesn't want pain, suffering, or tribulation. That must be in someone's heart to teach the doctrine and words that come out of their mouth. It's already true. It's not like maybe. Someone can keep the law and be zealous for the law and have no heart. Apostle Paul, a great example. Saul first. So that's why everything else is dung. With the worldly ways and the carnal understanding, it's all dung compared to Messiah in him. Now it's a reality. Now he's learning and growing. It's a reality. He has life. It's a reality. It could be done as a masquerade, even with the commandments. That's why someone could say, and I'm saying why it could be, so there's no confusion. Someone could mention something true like the full moon or something about the Sabbath day there, that people asking for truth are receiving, and they care about these things, but only because the heart first. There's a little confusion. It's not the outward thing that they think is the true valuable thing. It just leads to that because of the heart, but coming from the outside first means no heart. That's all they care about. That's their focus. That's what they see. It's the only thing they see. So it's possible, and not only possible, but it's necessary and happens the most, that there could be and is many false prophets deceiving many, and they'll say right words. Say right words to make it look like they're of the truth. They snuck in, crept in unnoticed. Those words mean something. It's a reality happening all the time. Messiah warned about it, not just for 12 people, his disciples, meaning everyone that follows him. Doesn't matter what time it is. This is what's going on. He's warning his people. It's always happening. And it just manifests and get worse and worse at the end. It must not be comfortable to start hearing and seeing truth and believing it for herself, and then knowing sort of a picture of what's required, what will happen also right along with it. Whatever spark or life was in the beginning, that thing that sprouted, it has some sense of this. And it chose the wide gate thing and it died because it doesn't want tribulation. It's huge. That's why that doctrine's evil. No tribulation. Rapture, which means no tribulation. It's not about the word. If he gives us something that's true to believe and see, you will have tribulation in your life, in this life. You will have tribulation. We believe that in our heart. We know it's true. Now people are giving doctrine out there that says rapture and no tribulation, anti-Messiah spirit, devil spirits. No tribulation is in their heart to be able to say the doctrine, So it's not just doctrine teaching. There's a reason and a meaning and an answer why anything is taught. There is a reason, and that makes sense too. Everything that's true makes sense. It's not no reason. There's a reason through deception and trickery that something's taught. We care about why and what that reason is. That's what we care about. That's the heart of it. Many called, few chosen becomes a reality because of the things he's showing us, not because of pride. That's the very thing they need to overcome. Something that's true is not prideful, but it's false for people, so they'll see it as pride. Go to our Creator and tell him it's evil and prideful. That's basically what's happening. Oh, you actually believe in many called, few chosen? That's prideful. That's evil. And you say the church world is deceived and the whole world is deceived like I read. You actually believe that and say that? Well, that's evil. Tell my creator that's evil. The only reason I believe it is because he gave it to me. And really, they do spiritually without realizing. Strong judgment, more blinding, more destruction, more sin is part of the judgment. To separate them as false and darkness. They attack his people. More blinding and more sin comes their way. It's part of the judgment. They'll do more sin, and they'll do it right in front of you. And it's all the works and proof right there that we see. They'll do it right in front of you. Those are bad works. Those are the evil works that a good tree can't have. Purposefully attacking and wanting to kill and trap, steal, destroy with intention to do that. Those are the bad works. They do them right in front of us. So here's the proof he's showing us. And that's what we did. You were washed, you know. That's what should be true for people that are in Messiah. You were this too, but you were washed, you know, if indeed you're washed. That if statement separates reality from non-reality. This could be true about someone if it's true. If not, then this, the opposite. Darkness, sin, and evil. Giving someone a cheeseburger, you could say that's a work, right? Someone that's hungry, it's a good work. It's never to take that away, but the works we're looking for, it doesn't look just like that. We watch for people giving someone a pork sandwich spiritually. That's an evil work. Crabs, bottom feeders, they give it to people. Here's a gift of delusion. Here's a unclean food we give you, eat it. Those are evil works. What about that? And what if those works are happening while it's doing what looks like good works on the outside? It's doing evil works. The other thing don't matter. Because that's the real heart thing. It's doing evil works. Forget the physical sandwich now. Now it's no good. Now it's puke. Feed my sheep. Feed them with what? Bacon? No. Clean food? Yeah. What's he really saying? Spiritual food gives life. Unclean food makes unclean, death. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Feed my sheep, feed my sheep, feed my sheep. If you love me, if you love me, if you love me, you'll feed my sheep, feed my sheep, feed my sheep. If you don't love me, you won't feed my sheep, you won't feed my sheep, you won't feed my sheep. Oh, and do it freely with no carnal gain at all. You won't receive it. In fact, you'll receive tribulation. No one in their right mind would do that. No one. No carnal mind would do that. Because of all the things that it already is, sin, pride, it would block it, destroy it. It can't do that. No pain, no gain. How come that's not believed spiritually? Because we do read something about physical exercise and its little benefit, but spiritual, in contrast to this, is huge benefit. Flexing, growing the spiritual muscles. That means there's spiritual food. That means there's spiritual water. That means there's real life within that he gives. That means there's a whole reality that people don't acknowledge exists. And this is to have eyes and can't see, ears but can't hear. So what if someone hears a train horn? What if they can't hear that spiritually? Does that prove they're good now? No, it's evil works, blinding, deception. The only thing carnal Israel could understand is an actual trumpet. And it's not to blame them. It's who everyone is. That's carnal man right there. If someone's still carnal, that's all they can really understand. Now I hear the spiritual trumpet, if you will, warning. This thing points to that thing. That thing could be good only if the real thing is being done. War also. And we are in a war, and it's tiring to put on the helmet and breastplate and then walk around, in heavy armor. And he's fighting off our enemies for us. We don't do that part ourselves. But first, the natural, first through the natural and the picture of that and the literal miracles of that. Something that literally can't be done, and it is. That's a miracle, and it happened, and it's happening now. No one can get a gun and shoot you in the head unless the Father says that's what's happening. Period. This is the faith that doesn't exist in the church world. The purpose of this belief is not to say what he will do, it's just to say that this is the truth. Because there's a reality to don't fear your enemies, because he got it. But we're going to want to fear, but we learn that not to over time. That the enemies will come, but he will show you the miracle of walking right through the army. It's not a joke. You should have been dead a long time ago. I should have been dead a long time ago. This world hates our Father, the Messiah, and then because of that, us. We should be dead. Spiritually dead. And really, literally dead too. I mean, it hates us that much. He's in control. What's one way he does it? I'll put fear in all their armies and troops, and you're going to walk right by, and they're going to think, who are these people? I'm afraid of them. There's nothing they can do about it. Free will? 10,000 ways to prove that it doesn't exist. How come people don't believe the simple words, Curses, I'll give you sicknesses that can't be healed. Spiritually, has a whole new meaning then, doesn't it? Don't worry about the enemies. Don't wish them evil and seek vengeance. I give them sickness they can't heal themselves, and no one else can. No doctor can do it. No witch doctor can do it either. I give them boils spiritually, and they can't heal it. They have to pretend every day that they don't have them. It's pretty bad for them. Don't worry about them. They want water, I'll give them blood to drink and bitterness of water. And that bitter represents the opposite thing of life, instead of sweet. Maybe that's why John eats the book and it's sweet in the mouth, the senses, what it gets right away. But after some digestion, it's bitter in his stomach because of what it really means. I didn't know it was going to be like this. I thought it was just sweet. Just God wants to make me rich, make me happy. It's a whole false thing. It has nothing to do with him. Our Father will make you, wants to make you poor in the spirit, weak in the flesh, send a lot of enemies and testing and trials and tribulations. He takes pleasure in your death. He's coming with the sword, so to refine you. He's taking enemies out for you. He's separating you with his word. Instead of the peace that people want in their mouth that tastes good on the surface, I take it away from them. That's not what they're going to want. They're going to be weary of that and say and want and expose when people do want it. This is a whole new creator, isn't it? And yet he is not the God that's so good to everyone, but then tortures everyone. He made them stupid. He did that, not me. He made them fools. That billions, millions of people could believe in this Trinity God that loves them and blesses them as they are, as sinners, but then tortures all their enemies with no end. And this is a good God. He made them fools. We should be a little worried that could be us, and it would be us. So this is what draws people near truth, if it will. The rest it pushes them away. You want your God, you'll have it. Go have it. There's a verse for that. Let the righteous be righteous still. Let the filthy be filthy still. Don't hate the messenger. He gave me the meaning of that. How come they don't believe that? Rebellious children that need to be corrected, like the rebellious children that are being corrected right now. All are rebellion. So then if the few that are being corrected from this rebellion are in the process completing destroy your soul to be finding life, and that's happening now, then what will be of the rest of creation? And what is the purpose of the destruction of the soul for the believers right now? To give them life. So what will the end be of those that are destroyed in the future? Crickets in the church world. Frogs. Well, crickets for the quiet, that what it represents, and then frogs for the foul spirits. We're not looking for actual frogs, that's not our concern. Our concern is, what does this frog mean for us? Because those frogs represent something real, not fake. And the apostle says it the simple way. First the natural, then the spiritual. No one knows what it means. I'm going crazy in this world. 3 billion, 2 billion, whatever it is, Christians don't know what that means. They don't. Can you see how they don't? Because if they did, it would be connected to every other truth that he's giving people. his people. If they really understood that, they would understand something else too, kind of like the parables. If you don't understand one, how will you understand them all? If you don't understand one, isn't it true that they won't understand them all? How much of the word, his word, do unbelieving, worshiping false God people understand for real in the heart? How much do they understand? None. They're void. To be void in blackness and darkness before laws are being given to the creation means void, blackness, and darkness. There's nothing. It's void. And they make his word what they are because that's all they can do. If they're dark and void, when they go and save people, they make them dark and void just like themselves. The Messiah, I know, says, you travel, religious people, who he's talking to, religious people that claims to believe in the creator of his word. And he says, you don't know them, your father's the devil. You travel land and sea to make one convert, someone converted. And when he's converted, those aren't lies, they are converted. They do that. You make him twice the son of Gehenna fire as yourself. Which connects back to the other thing, right? That the void is making and converting people to what? Void. So the whole thing's void. Whole thing's darkness. Amazing. Someone might ask, why me? And they would rightfully say that from their heart because they're starting to see that they shouldn't be understanding this. Starting to see that they were not better than anyone else. Why me? I don't know. Besides whatever he's given to know, that he has mercy on whom he has mercy for the contrast. But why each individual? I don't know. It's not because of what they did. So why? Well, I'm not going where I don't know. I'm not going to make stuff up. I don't know. I don't believe he does anything with no reason or purpose, but it's not because we were better than anyone. See, so I don't know what the answer is. Random pick, let's not talk about things that don't matter, things we don't know for sure. That has nothing to do with life. Like not knowing that is not going to destroy us. Just accept it. We don't know where anybody, we don't know where the bottom of the seas, the ends of the earth, all these things. Where were you? We weren't there, so we don't know. We have to accept what we don't know. We're not God. God tries to make books and tell everyone. Someone asks, they need an answer. We just say, I don't know, and people run away. He doesn't know. He must not know my creator, my God. That teaching right there applies to so many things they do with his word. That's what we did. I need answers now. I need answers. I don't know. Then we swallow something and we swallow a lie because we wanted it now and didn't want to hear from our creator and didn't want to wait on our father. So when we do things our way, we just believe a bunch of lies. There's a reason people don't want tribulation because they don't really see the full thing of it, of course, but because it's hard and difficult. it must not be a real pleasant thing to know nobody loves you and see the actual opposite thing. You know, these aren't just words, this is reality. This is the real thing. Nobody loves you if you're in Messiah, except those in Messiah. Everyone else can't. And they don't. And everything that he shows you will prove that's true. Someone might still think and hang on to, like I would have too and did. Maybe this, no, him too. Oh, him too. Oh, and then it just hits you. Carnal man cannot love our creator. I read it. And then it applies for us. If the Father's in us, no one can actually love you. And then one day it hits you and it becomes reality. And then the experience will only line up with that reality over and over again. That's difficult. That's a tribulation nonstop. That's why it's so stupid to me. No tribulation. What are you talking about? But I know they just don't know. But still, what are you talking about? You know? I'm where I'm at right now because of what happened with my last job, tribulation. And the thought that comes is maybe it's going to happen again. And I'm like, give me at least a few months here. Give me at least a few months where I don't need to think about, oh, I don't know, again for the 8th time, another job, another this, another experience, all over again, not knowing. And then, yeah, part of you wants that, but you just accept that however long, whatever it is, it will be whatever it is. But you could see the tribulation. So I don't know what tomorrow will bring. I don't know at all. Didn't plan it. There's nothing I got planned right now. Zero, nothing. You know, and to the world, this is offensive because that's all the world is teaching us to do, to love it. I could say that confidently now, but maybe not 5 years ago or 7 or 8. It was on that path, but it just becomes more of a reality. Zero. Don't know. No plan. It would make me look stupid to this world, right? And that's not comfortable. What are you going to do? Explain it to them? They're going to believe you and have compassion? No. No, they'll hate you and won't believe you. There's no one you can go to. No one. Zero. Unless you find another like-minded. Otherwise, there's nothing. No one. What are you doing, loser? I wonder what your parents might think of someone that has no plans. Ashamed of Messiah, not me. You're not going to make it, they told me. That's how much love is existing in this world. Whatever was happening before some time back, you're not going to make it. And you're just walking into problems and a world of hurt, and you're not going to make it. They ran away from it. When I heard those words, it hit me like that. They know something about it. They ran away from it. You're a lot like me when I was young, I heard. I'm going, was? They're not. It's real. The parable's real. They ran away from it. The thing that sprouted died. They know something about it. They ran away from it. Tribulation. Rapture. Rapture, rapture. It's evil. They ran away from tribulation. Messiah's own words that they say they believe in. They don't. Because he said in this life you will have tribulation. It's an emphatic, when that's said for people who have the Father in them, that's an absolute reality and must be a reality. These aren't words and systems and games. That's a reality. It has to be for them. For the rest, it's not. They ran away from it. You know, that's the difficult tribulation that John says he's a part of. Just another guy in tribulation. And in this case, the Father gave him words to be preserved, but he's, you know, that's what he had him do. Something maybe a little different than another person, but all one and the same still. What's he doing? What's he doing? What about that man? Disciple to another disciple. What are you, walking up to Messiah? What are you doing with him? What are you gonna do? What's he doing? What about him? Don't worry about him, follow me. That means nothing in the church world. It's dead. Go sit on the benches and see how dead it is. It means nothing. Nothing. None of it means anything. It's what death is. Dead man knows nothing. Check the grave. What do they know? Spiritual death, nothing. No, they don't know anything. Only the devil could teach the opposite. You will not surely die. What's this really saying? Carnal people won't have a real understanding. What this really means is, no, you're not going to follow Messiah and die like he died. That's necessary. You shall not surely die. Excuse me. And so they don't right now. That was the devil's instruction, to go away from the Creator. The very thing necessary, you shall not. But not forgetting what he said, you will die. It's just a matter of time. And the destruction is happening to them. They are actually dying, just not the way that it needs to be. It's kind of difficult to put in words. There's two different destructions, if you will. The ones he's destroying are ending up having life, but the ones that are saving that carnal man, that soul, not needing and wanting any tribulation, they're being destroyed so they don't have this real life. But they also must die too. It's just, you could see it's flipped around. Their life is leading up to that point. It's already a reality for those that know that's a lie. The devil, fire, murder from the beginning. Why don't they teach that in the church world? Because of everything it's connected with. You could go on for 20 hours. Why is the doctrine taught? We don't care about just the letters by themselves. Why didn't he create evil? Why isn't the devil? Why is the devil an angel of light from the beginning, perfect? Because that's their father, who masquerades as an angel of light. Just a little confused, but not actually that. That's why they teach that. Because it's the opposite of what is truth. They can't teach truth, real things. The devil's a liar and a murderer from the beginning, and we're given a picture, a real thing here to represent and point to the truth. He created the beast, the wisest of all. From the beginning, it was a beast. We could read it plainly, but we know what it means. And it was like this from the beginning. And this is the devil. Not an angel of light from the beginning, who fell from pride. They're talking about themselves. It's strange when you really give in the deeper things of why people teach things. It's weird. It's strange. They need that to be true. It's strange. They will hate the truth that the devil's a liar and a murderer from the beginning, Why do they hate it so much? I don't even know. Why do they need that thing to be true so badly? One question is, what if it's not true? What are the implications of that? Could that be why they need it to be true so badly? Spiritual problem. So Messiah confirmed this thing in Genesis. He said those words. He's a liar and a murderer from the beginning. No truth in him. What he does is take some true words on the surface and mix it with lies, but there's no actual truth in him. Same for all the ministers that are under this father of theirs, the devil. Like father, like son, there's no truth in them either. None. People are flocking after that. They're flocking after no truth. That's the reality. But of course, we can't believe this reality because that makes us look really bad and evil, So they just won't admit it. It's the way it is. It's the world we live in. Is that an order? What do I got here? Yeah, it's an order. Strange. Today's not one of those busy days, I guess. But it's not always busy. It's all right. It's nice sometimes just to not be busy every single time. If doubts start coming, I just go, I know you got it. Like anything worldly, carnal, money issues, whatever. He got it. He'll do it. So far, it's been so much like that it was something happened that couldn't happen at better timing. It came out of the blue, just an example of these strange things he does, miracles. Some time back, because I didn't find anything right away after that last job. Didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't inspired to even look, but I was looking here and there. But I really did believe whatever needs to be done will be done. And I guess part of that was not always looking. It's hard to explain. You just believe he's going to do it at the right time when he does it. And I would have missed still being under the spell of the world, being in debt with the house. I would have missed a payment and got a random payment help from an uncle in Ohio. It never happens. But he wanted to help out my mom, dad, me, my brother a little bit because of some history years ago, and it came right in the nick. It gave me a little more time that I needed, that I ended up needing, so that I didn't have to go and beg and ask. I was just like, all right, I know if that's what I have to do, okay, but please don't let that happen. I don't want to go and beg and do that, and bother people and be a burden or something. And it didn't happen. Never had that happen before, but it happened at the right time. And all kinds of other things like that at different times, when something like that happens, like the temptation is just to forget it or say that's not from him, that it wasn't him, you know, doing the work. Because that's what I read the disciples, they forgot. So now I try to remember. Like, hopefully that doesn't happen as much. That's what I'm hoping. Where I kind of doubt, did this thing really happen? I don't know. That's the way of the world. But I read that they had a problem with that, so it's nice to know that that is indeed our problem. So in a weird way, it's good to know how to know that that's true. It's normal. It's okay. But you need to grow out of it, but it's okay. They did too. Every single one of my people did too. There wasn't like one that didn't have this problem at all. He's just going to rise up, and full of pride. I did it better than everyone else. No. No actual reason to boast. It's a reality. Because there is no actual reason. Because what we think could be a lie, and indeed that's what this world is, and it's not an actual reality. They just don't acknowledge what the Creator's done for them. So that pride is like a false thing. It doesn't exist to our Creator. It's a delusion. It's stupid. And I think that helps to really start believing it's stupid. It helps to remember it more and not be prideful as much. Because it is stupid, once we start seeing things like, this is stupid. What on earth is the pawn telling the hand? It's pretty stupid. I did this down here all by myself. I'm good. I'm strong. I'm God. And he flicks it off the board. It's stupid. It's hard for any carnal mind to grasp. It's such a deep-seated problem that they're not God. It breaks everything, who and what we are, down. It's a destruction, man. It's a death. There's like a reality to this destruction and death. It's almost impossible to believe. No, it can't be. There's an actual Creator, and I'm not that, and I'm not God, and I'm not no free will. There's only one way, and it's His way, and it's not my way. No, this is a real deep-seated problem in everyone. This is what we grow up, and then the world confirms and teaches it over and over and over again, and we don't know what sin is, and then we start learning what sin is, and the world is not the same anymore. It keeps getting darker from our perspective, and that might make us sad that it's not what we thought it was. And that's what people are afraid of, but they need to go through that, but they're afraid. They don't want it. No tribulation. Rapture tomorrow at the latest. Not at the seventh trumpet. Not at anything but the truth, They imagine some real hardcore bad thing at time at the end, and they won't be in it. This is a strong delusion, man. And if someone believes this still, they got to pray about it. That shouldn't even be our focus, that's what we're taught. Now, I genuinely do see and believe that these are crazy times and we're in the latter part of it. But that's not the focus. It can't be. It can't be the constant. That's carnal people's focus. So someone 500 years ago, it didn't happen. Salvation didn't happen. And if we don't have Messiah working in us, then we're not overcoming anything. and we're not going to be ready for anything. Spiritual house won't be ready for it's going to fall. It's falling and it's going to fall. Yeah, I better go. I read somewhere in Psalm that the Father is, the death of his saints is precious in his sight. There's some more chastising words for that carnal mind, you know. That's not what we want to hear. Billy Graham and everyone else, you know, life, money, entertainment, to not see, worry, care about any of these real things, just a distraction. And if everything in the world and the form of this world is passing away, like I read, not a joke, that means there's nothing that's going to stand for those people. It's not going to stand, you know. Better now to pluck out the eye than be cast in Gehenna all at once. He does say it's better. It's a better way, it seems. Proving that, no, evil won't go on like this forever. Like some people out there teach or want to be true, you know. They don't want, you could see why they would want it, because they hate the kingdom of heaven and everything it is. For real, for actually in the heart, whatever it is, it doesn't want to love. It can't love. It loves this right now. It loves this world, and anyone that does is enemies to our Creator. We better learn not to. And the reason why he keeps telling me, showing me over and over and over again, is because it's evil, and its ways are evil. And if we love it, that means we're still his enemy and evil. So one thing could just expose someone immediately. We see some real hardcore love of the world in their heart. What does that mean? Well, that means they're enemies still, you know, and we're not saying it's perfected in one day, but you see that discernment. It's a genuine, real love and attachment. And it has to focus on it, think about it, and do these things. Truth torments people, so when truth is given, it starts tormenting and cutting people up. And for the first time in maybe a long time, they have a flash and start thinking a little bit about themselves, and they realize there is no actual faith, you know, and this really bothers them, and it's not what I want to see, but that's just the reality of it. You know, I don't like seeing that. So that's lining up with no pleasure in the death of the wicked. You know? It'll make you more like him every day. Because if that is true and that never changes, pleasure in people's sickness, death, worries, doubts, and fears, that means it's pretty clear what that means. You know, that means that's not being made in the Father's image. It must be the devil's image, the beast that was created on day 6, carnal. It must be the image of the beast. What is this image? It's a mystery. A few years back, you know, I just call it the beginning because that's what it is for everyone. For us, it's the beginning. For someone else, their beginning was the beginning of the new creation. Maybe they read Revelation or some of it, trying to figure it out like I did, and maybe just hope like maybe I see something and figure something out. And I had no clue. Genuinely have no clue what any of this means. Nothing. and it just keeps growing. Because we admit we don't know, and then we need to know. We do need to know, but we admit we don't know, and then it starts coming. Or something that seems impossible. I'll never know. He'll never answer. Yeah, he will. And I'm tired of seeing everything else that's a lie being taught that he won't. Because that's what's killing people. Yes, he will. You don't need to have A's, straight A's in school. Nothing to do with that. And people will make those excuses, for the reasons why, because they don't want him. They don't want his truth for, real. Nobody's at the menu. Looks like I gotta go. So just believe that he will give whatever you need. Just wait. That's it. As long as it's from the heart, not a joke, soul, heart, mind, greatest commandment. The creation can't do that. It hates our creator with all their soul, heart, and mind.